In early October of 2023, I published a video going over the story of a forgotten YouTuber by the name of Allucid. He was a commentary channel who became quickly known for his video essays on a musician by the name of Lil Darky, but soon after, in 2020, he was accused of messaging a 14-year-old whilst he was 19. And as seen in my video, Allucid was most likely falsely cleared by a number of large commentary channels, basically getting away with what he had done. Allucid continued on for a bit, but soon left the internet and destroyed his friendships in 2021, and numerous attempts to expose him since have failed miserably. If you watched the video, you know the story. So, with Allucid still offline and no response in sight, why have I decided to make this video following up on it? Well, as a result of my video, I received a lot of information that was previously hidden or obscure. People who I hadn't heard from in years suddenly came back, and as a result, I was given huge leaks that add so much more to the situation, and I couldn't pass up on covering it. So today we'll be going over loads of additional information to the Allucid story, including his activity as recent as this year, an entirely secret channel that is featured on a video with millions of views, and a rare recording of Ground Zero, Allucid's first reaction on the day the allegations were published. Let's get into it. One of the first pieces of information that was given to me as soon as I published my Allucid documentary actually showed a rare connection between Allucid and another degenerate that we've covered on this channel. Turns out that in that group chat of friends during 2020, Allucid was friends with a guy named Teals. And if you're in the loop, if you're subscribed, if you've been watching this channel frequently, you'll know that Teals was one of the many aliases of Hey I'm Damn. So yeah, the fact that these two were friends at one point is actually wild as fuck. I could not believe it when I was told that. Worlds collide, truly. Speaking of Allucid's former friends, many of them, who are way more normal, came out with their own messages and interactions that they had with him. His erratic behaviour, where he cut off all his friends, had stood out to many who had been previously defending him, such as Aiden Projects. Aiden would post a conversation from 2021 where Allucid refers to one of his previous edgy statements as a joke, but then takes Aiden making an edgy joke as a factual statement. Whilst this isn't something huge, I think it's worth showing just for perspective on the general feeling that Allucid's friends were having about him. Even those who didn't know the suspicious nuking of his social media knew that something was up from the way he talked to them. And another of Allucid's friends who came out was Pridwin, previously known as Raimu. Pridwin was the friend of Allucid's that hopped in during the Johnson stream to reveal information about the iPhone. Pridwin would leave a comment underneath my video, which started out with a public retraction of any defense they gave for Allucid, stating they'd already made up with some of the parties affected. Then they go on to state that Allucid was not secretly the AMV channel known as SVD Desu, saying that they were mutuals with Desu a year before they met Allucid, and the similarity in their editing comes down to Allucid buying their project files and reincorporating them into his videos. The next point then discusses the diss track in one of the first lines, which I actually got wrong in my translation. It actually reads "attracted to Prid now," which was based on a rumour that occurred around the time Allucid was exposed in October 2020. Pridwin says that Allucid would be flirting with them on VC and on text, with Allucid being well aware that Pridwin was 17 and technically underage at the time. Weirdly, after Pridwin turned 18 in November, he would get cold with them, similar to other people's experiences. However, this is only a statement, as Pridwin also clarifies they don't have any evidence to support this, as it would be in a Discord account they can't access. They also don't fully remember anything specific, and there were no outright obvious flirting messages on the level of Allucid's exposed DMs with a 14-year-old. Pridwin's final point talks about how they edited a portion of Allucid's Nick Diorio feature for payment, and he initially didn't pay them the agreed amount. It took weeks of essentially begging to even get the money, which then had to be refunded because Pridwin's PayPal was acting up. I found this statement really interesting because it covers a lot of stuff that I didn't know. It also corrects some of my own fuck-ups, and actions like not paying his friends falls in line with what Allucid was doing. It further adds to why he was pretty hated by all of his friends. That being said, I wouldn't go as far as to link Allucid's alleged interest in Pridwin to his actions with the 14-year-old. If Pridwin is telling the truth, the age gap would have been around 17, 19, maybe even 17, 18. That age gap alone is nowhere near predatory or grooming in my opinion. And anyway guys, Pridwin was 17. That's too old for Allucid. Come on, man. Okay, I understand that is a bit of a low blow, bit of a cheap shot. I mean, it's the truth, but let's not characterize Allucid as only being interested in girls who have to do history homework over the holidays. There was that one time he kept hitting on a girl presumably of age, and she told him to stop, and he responded by dedicating an entire song to her, according to reputable Twitter user MasterPooper69. As fake as this sounds, this commentary ballad has actually been archived, and it exists. Take a listen. Allucid's love song also isn't the first song he's ever made. The Google Drive by Zenily also included 2 more bangers he had in the locker. These ones are so hard to listen to.
90s AIDS, just like Fortnite, too much kids, call that abort right ho. Crank it some 90s, cause it's alright, as long as we went back to when I had a good flow. Now, Bogoba Sickles or Daisuke, I want the knife, see that shit's insane. Why that beat so slow, tend to rap faster for all you motherfucking hoes. Ayy, last time I bought down a track, I should've stayed in quarantine. Ayy.
I mean, I know the diss track was kind of wild with its lyrics, but at least they were unbeat. At least you could hear the energy, the creativity, the passion in that scream. Okay, I know. Let's get to the actually important stuff. Cast your minds back to October 2020, and the day Shive decided to put out his allegations against Allucid. Now, the timeline everyone knew and the timeline in my video is that the allegations came out, there was some backlash, Allucid got doxxed, and then John Swan made his fateful stream. However, there was an event that happened just after the allegations dropped. Unknown to basically everyone, Allucid was in a Discord call with some of his commentator friends on the day the allegations were published. Now, what if a significant portion of such a call was recorded? And what if that call consisted of Allucid's facecam, showing his real-time body language as the pressure mounts? Well, thanks to some very helpful people, such a call exists and I have the recording. And in this segment, we'll be taking a closer look. Now, you may be wondering, why does Allucid have his facecam on in the first place? Did he just feel like doing it? Well, no. The reason he has his facecam on is because the people in the call forced him to turn on his facecam and keep his hands in frame, so that he wouldn't be able to delete any DMs. It was a good idea, but unfortunately for them, Allucid had been 10 steps ahead and was already deleting messages from the moment he was sending them. The game was already rigged from the start.
No, I'm here to defend you.
Why wouldn't we?
I'm believing your word.
I've known you for 2 years, dude. No,
I just can't believe somebody would do this, dude. I never thought Shive would go this far to try to slander me like this.
I literally got Grizzlo to fucking believe you, dog. I don't like Grizzlo at all, but him claiming that you're like that in my DMs is just fucking, it's pissing me off. I literally said, there's literally no proof. He's gonna get slazoed. If you can't prove it, don't say anything. Wait.
In this part, one of the other small commentators in the call says that despite his personal distaste towards Allucid, he thought that Shive had no proof and thought that Allucid would get slazoed. For those of you who are unaware, because it's been almost 5 years since it happened, Slazo was a commentary channel who came under allegations of rape and sexual abuse by his ex-girlfriend in 2019. The situation was a huge affair, with many initially believing Slazo's ex-girlfriend Che, before his response turned everything on its head, and other people would go on to unveil the colluding of multiple YouTubers who were behind the scenes supporting these allegations. Slazo came under immense and undeserved harassment for something that was ultimately false, and it changed him forever. By October 2020, this event was still fresh in the minds of everyone inside the commentary community, and was a deciding factor in Allucid's false vindication, because no one wanted to do another Slazo. Again, yet another testament to the bona fide fact that false accusers do irreparable damage to often genuine and real stories. In the next clip, Allucid receives word that Pridwin, one of his friends, had contacted Shive, and his silence here speaks volumes.
Wait, Ryamu just risked it, fuck, I can't speak, and he messaged Shive.
DM Shive. What's shocked?
Why?
Then, after reading it, he says,
I'm gonna take this to the end though, because at the end of the day, I've been through so much that Shive's put me through, and I'm positive he's the one who doxed me. Because at this rate, it's like, if I'm doing YouTube and I've been through that so far, I'm not gonna just die here, you know?
Like, the
It
shit
has to
needs
be
to
ended.
stop now.
I want to take him down entirely. Like, I want his entire fucking career over with.
It's really weird how this whole monologue shifts tones so much. It starts pretty self-destructive and depressing, but then he shifts the blame onto Shive, and it almost turns into a rallying cry of sorts. Also, just one question. Why the fuck is this guy in the middle of allegations wanting to go after Shive's career of 2,000 subscribers? That's fucking insane, and to me that's incredibly telling. And if someone was to theorize that Allucid again rigged it and turned these commentators onto his side, I wouldn't blame them, because ultimately, Shive's career was destroyed. That was one of the main points of what happened after. Now, I'm not saying the entire thing was Allucid's manipulative victory, I'm not saying John Swan was an Allucid puppet, but I have to estimate that some portion of the burying of the allegations comes down to statements like this in calls like this. Okay, this next clip is the wildest one out there, just take a listen first.
The person isn't 14, she's fucking 20, correct?
Yeah.
21.
So, Allucid seemingly confirms that the girl's age was 20 or 21, not 14, even though that's easily disprovable because the evidence literally shows her saying that she's a fucking minor. If Allucid said she was 17, that would have made a solid defense for him, but he doesn't. He says she's 20 or 21, which is just contradictory to evidence we have. And then, like clockwork magic, he realizes evidence to disprove this, and he backtracks in real time.
I thought that's one of the evidence things, so it's kind of funny, actually.
This clip is beyond insanity. How in the fuck was he so egregious with this and it still didn't get picked up? He literally said the girl's around 20 to 21, then he typed something on his keyboard, and then he's like, oh fuck, the evidence said she's a minor. This is wild.
Oh, I do.
Good old Genshin Impact.
Again, out of the entire core, there's not much that's clippable, because if I did show that stuff, this would be a really boring video. But in the overall recording, it seems as if, for most parts, Allucid seems strangely laid back and nonchalant over career-destroying allegations that he's facing. His posture turns from, like, agitated towards the beginning, to more relaxed as time goes on. He's literally laying back on his chair, and alongside that, he's just cracking jokes as well. One of them that he says is about how he's into older women, and the other one's about how they should have exposed his nudes, or imagine if they deepfake my nudes. This is very strange considering the implications seen in his DMs, where it seems like he's asking to send something via Snapchat. On top of that, one of his ex-girlfriends named Alina came out in 2021 and said they would only exchange nudes over Snapchat. Keep in mind this is testimony from an ex-girlfriend, but I think it's worth noting. Now I know some people will want to mention about me being like this armchair body language expert. I'm not trying to be that. There's not like a guidebook or a specific way that you should react to allegations, but come on, if you were going to react to allegations, probably not like this, you know? Some of the things he says in this call feel really off, especially considering the fact that this is the day, perhaps only an hour or two after these allegations were published. Maybe I'm going insane, maybe this is the Toastify insanity arc beginning, but something about this really does not read right for me, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay, getting away from October 2020, back to modern day. When we last left off with the documentary, Allucid's last known public activity was his response via Twitlonger, dated April 18th, 2022. Screenshots are given to me showing that he was active for a few days after this, but I was under the impression that he'd been quiet ever since. I was wrong, incredibly wrong. As it turned out, he had also been supposedly running another channel under the name of AkumiVHS. Now, if you search that up today, you won't find much except a channel with 600 subscribers and no content, but when this channel was once active and alive, it did post videos, primarily surrounding the VR community. And evidence of this still exists today if you take a look through the community tab or take a glance at his Patreon. Plus, something about the style of the channel's artwork seems pretty familiar to Allucid's. But with no content available, how do we know AkumiVHS is Allucid? Well, the other big ventures made on the AkumiVHS channel concern another YouTuber and documentary maker known as Brandon FM. Brandon's channel, which has almost 200,000 subscribers at the time of writing, is primarily focused on covering dark internet cases, sometimes cases of grooming, so it's interesting that he would have Akumi featured on his videos. Here's a little comparison for you to make up your mind.
What's up guys, I'm Allucid, and by now you probably already know who Lil Darky or Brahmin is if you see my other videos on him, and if you haven't, make sure to go check those out, and yeah. So although I've spoken about Lil Darky on this channel before, I thought it'd be interesting to take a look into not only his less popular songs, but also his first venture into the music industry as Brahmin. I thought it'd be a good video to make because you can tell he's evolved with what he creates over time, and it's all reflected within his music. So I decided to go through each of his songs that were less noticed compared to his more popular songs such as Genocide, Haha, or Holocaust. Lismatic, also known as Kenny Smith, is most known for owning a sex cult, secretly disguised as a nightlife club, and running a virtual reality slave trade amongst other various sins in this unique anomaly of a game. On February 18th, 2022, myself, Tanjiro, and Brandon were investigating Lismatic, since he was a topic in my video, and we all collectively agreed how suspicious his actions were when we found out he was running a secret club amongst his No Trust Empire Discord server.
Now, when all this information was brought to me, I still held some doubt. After all, it could just be a coincidence. There's many a white boy who have that nasally inflection that Allucid has, but then something else was shown which just really solidified this theory. Around August of 2022, Zenily, formerly known as Shive, found the Brandon FM video on the AkumiVHS channel whilst on a call with his friends. They noticed the connection and similarity in voice between the two, and soon started tweeting about how Allucid was Akumi. I don't like tweeting gay commentary shit, but AkumiVHS is Allucid's new Twitter and YouTube alias, so yeah, he's a pedophile trying to join the VR chat community now, so yeah lol. On August 31st, the same day that this was posted to Twitter, the AkumiVHS Twitter account was set to private, and he wiped his channel clear of videos. He would stay semi-active and private until December 2022, when he posted his last tweet. This was also around the time his second video working with Brandon FM would be published. Since then, we've heard nothing from this channel. Now, first of all, the obvious, if this wasn't true, why did Akumi go private? If I was Akumi and this was a false accusation, I'd just deny it, I'd reach out and try to clear things up. But also, this entire sequence of events sounds familiar. Tell me if it rings a bell. Getting called out on something, wiping as much of your online presence as you can immediately, and your last activity being a feature on someone else's video. Doesn't that sound exactly like what Allucid did in early 2021? All of these factors combined just solidify the fact that in my mind, Allucid was trying to hop to another community with his AkumiVHS channel, and the thing is, he was partly successful in doing so. The Twitlonger response he made was just him obviously trying to tie up any loose ends in an advantageous situation. That whole tired of YouTube excuse, that was all a lie, just like the rest of the Twitlonger, probably written in to throw anyone off his scent. And after that, he still managed to get around. AkumiVHS was featured on Brandon's channel twice, the first being the Dark Side of VR, a video posted in May 2022, and one that has accumulated over 1 million views since being uploaded. The other video was in December of 2022, titled Decoding the Martin Files. It has gotten almost 200,000 views. In both of these videos, Akumi is listed first as a collaborator and then as an actor. Twitter DMs were also sent, alerting Brandon FM of the connection and Allucid's past, but seemingly these pleas have fallen on deaf ears. I've also reached out, but currently to no avail, although if things change, I'll let you all know. As of writing though, Brandon still has Akumi linked in the description of his videos.
Also, big shout out to Akumi and Tanjiro. Helps a lot with the Lismatic chapter. I know Akumi is planning on releasing his own VR series, so I'm going to link his channel in the description as well. There should be like a trailer out, I believe.
Now, publicly, that's where Allucid's story ends as far as we know, but this is not the end of his activity. A year after his Twitlonger, in April 2023, Allucid came alive again, this time on his main account. This wasn't to make another grand return to Twitter, it was actually so Allucid could get back into contact with his idols. If you paid attention to the Allucid documentary, you'll know that one of Allucid's first video essays was talking about Leafy, and coincidentally, April 2023 would also be around the time that Leafy is Here came back to the internet yet again, this time for his Rumble streams. Allucid would try to get into contact with people who were close to Leafy, or sometimes talk to other YouTubers he knew to try and get them to pass on the message. This has been corroborated to me by a few sources who all confirm that he messaged them around early April, but the only screenshot I have of this was from a creator who I'm going to keep anonymous because I don't want to get them unintentionally tied up in the situation. So the first screenshot is from April 2nd, where Allucid messages this person. Yo, it's Allucid. I'm trying to regain contact with Leafy now that he is reinstated. After he got banned, I lost the contact. Do you know his Discord? Then the creator being messaged doesn't respond. So 3 days later, and I'm not making this up, Allucid tries to get this person's attention using the help of the one and only Tipster. Yep, that's right, the Tipster Allucid connection is real. I know I talked about Dam and Allucid being friends and I was like worlds collide, but this is actually worlds colliding. Now, as hilarious as it would be to speculate on how Allucid and Tipster were in the DMs talking about 3 large meals, let's be fair to Tipster. Something no one has said in this community for months. Like most of the people involved in the commentary community, he obviously didn't know about the Instagram messages being fake until my video, and probably forgot the Johnson stream even happened. Here's the thing, I don't like Tipster. He's probably going to be the subject of a future video, but I'm not going to brand Pedo Defender onto him. And as far as I know, that is the last online appearance of Allucid that we know. But will it be the last we'll ever see of him? Does he have another alternate account in the locker that we don't know? It's possible, but in truth, I think it's unlikely. I've been told that Allucid actually knows of my video, and now that he knows there's a video out there with almost 150,000 views that covers his online history and disturbing DMs in detail, he probably won't try again. I think he understands that if he does make a new channel, both sides have negatives. He can either stay small and stay under the radar, or get popular and then get noticed. Then again, who knows? Maybe Allucid is sitting there, hiding in plain sight, and just watching all this unfold, whilst he moves away to craft his new online career. Or maybe he will be recognised, and just keep on chugging to the top like Hey I'm Dam. I guess we'll just have to see. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. My jaw hurts. This is the first time I've ever recorded a video my jaw hurts. I know I said I wouldn't upload a video until next year, but I had a bit of a break, I got away from my end of year burnout, and we're back slightly early. I'm glad this is the big issue I wanted to come back to, you know. Dream, Ninja Muffin, fuck that. We're talking about 20k commentary YouTubers who were relevant 3 years ago and disappeared. That is what this channel is truly all about. This whole Allucid video was originally just meant to be like a Twitter thread, and then it turned to a Google Doc, and then it turned to a video where I thought I'd just drop everything I was holding back. And making it has basically kicked me back into production. More videos in 2024. I got some interesting collabs prepared which will be coming soon, as well as bangers overall. I think I have the entire 2024, my video calendar. I think I have that all planned out. So it's gonna be cool. Until next time, stay safe and stay toasty.